jet concourse.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announcing today the state is distributing both fuel and generators. More than 1 million homes and businesses in Florida still are without electricity. Vice President Kamala Harris released a full medical report signed by her physician outlining her complete medical history. Her campaign now urging former President Donald Trump to release a similar report. The vice president telling reporters at Joint Base Andrews Trump's rally performance speaks for itself.
I invite the public to watch his rallies and be the decision maker on his acuity. And you will see in his rallies how he goes off on tangents, how he is not focused on the needs of the American people.
The Trump campaign maintains the former president has been consistent with releasing updates on his health, including in the aftermath of the first assassination attempt against him in Butler, Pennsylvania, this past summer. Trump's personal doctor has said the former president's overall health is excellent. America is listening to Fox News.
Interesting people are talking to Will Kane.
I said, what do I call you? I call you Dwayne. I call you The Rock. He said, now that I own it, I can call you The Rock.
Yes, I own it now. You can call me The Rock.
Our next guest needs no introduction. It is Dr. Jordan Peters, my old friend and frenemy, Stephen A. Smith.
What is going on here? I see the Will Kane show in the background. I see the microphone.
Watch it live at noon Eastern, Monday through Thursday on FoxNews.com. And get the podcast 5 days a week at FoxNewsPodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. From the Fox News Podcasts Network, the Fox News Rundown, a contrast of perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. Your daily dose of news twice a day, going far beyond the headlines, tapping into the massive reporting resources of Fox News to provide a full picture of the news of the day.
I'm Dana Perino.
I'm Brett Baer.
I'm Maria Bartiromo.
I'm Brian Kilmeade, and this is the Fox News Rundown.
Subscribe and listen now by going to FoxNewsPodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What they found inside. I'm Ryan Hedrick, and here's what's trending this hour. A dead body is what police found inside of a car parked at a towing business on Indy's South Side on Friday night. Police say it was an employee who tipped them off about seeing a human head in a car. Police said once they were able to get inside of that car, they made the confirmation. The car was towed from a McDonald's parking lot earlier in the week along South Madison Avenue. An autopsy will determine the exact cause of death. Legislators from Indiana came up with the new award to honor first responders who have either died or been badly injured in the line of duty.
And that award is available now. I'm John Herrick. It's called the Hoosier First Responder Medal of Honor Award.
Through this new state award, we can honor those who put it all on the line in the name of service.
State Representative Jim Lucas of Seymour wrote the bill to make it a reality. It's eligible for any officer whose duties include rapid emergency response, and they can be nominated by their employer. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
It comes with the territory. Injuries in the NFL, and the Indianapolis Colts are dealing with plenty of them, says linebacker Zaire Franklin.
Hopefully we get a couple of those guys back in the next couple of weeks and start playing like the unit we know we're supposed to be.
Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson will be a game-time decision on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. $3.25 is the statewide average for gas, says Gas Buddy. Now, here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
The overwhelming majority of us remain dry, low temperatures in the lower 60s. Tomorrow, a cold front swings through the state. Skies will be mostly sunny, high temperatures in the low to mid 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Reach your fitness goals in 2024 with the 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIPC.
Oh boy, Jack. I'll tell you what. These past couple of weeks, I've been beaten up one side and then straight down the other. I have been battered, beaten, and abused. I've been thoroughly mistreated. Nothing has gone my way. It has been an extremely rough couple of weeks, but I'm glad to be back here on Saturday Night on the Circle, returning to the airwaves with the beloved producer Jack, beep, 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 on the board, pushing the buttons and doing everything to make the show function.
Yeah, how you doing?
Could be better, could be worse. I'm alive. That's the most important thing. Stay tuned. Hour 2, we're going to have friends of the show, Donald Rainwater and Abdul Shabazz on. Donald's going to update us on the campaign, do a little reflective on how he did in the governor's debate. And then Abdul Shabazz is going to give us an update on the ongoing antics of Denise Paul Hatch, beleaguered constable of Center Township in Marion County. Fortunately, that saga seems to be at an end, so stay tuned for Hour 2 for updates on that. But first, I wanted to tell you, of course, what's happened to me, because one of the things that we do here on this station, Jack, and I'm not sure whether you were aware of that, we share details from our personal lives. We share things that have happened to us, and that makes us more relatable, because this is stuff that happens really to everybody. This is stuff that could have happened to audience members, and when we share our frustrations, it gives everybody really an outlet to vent.
Yeah, and it's always nice to hear someone else like say something that you're going through as well.
Well, and sometimes it's nice to see somebody else having bad luck, so it can make you feel better about your own luck.
Yeah,
so
certainly.
It started with me a couple of weeks ago, right after the vice presidential debate. I get a notice from my lawyer in Pennsylvania finally informing me that the mechanic emailed in and said that the truck, my long-lost truck, after more than a year, after 13 months, was finally ready to be picked up in Pennsylvania. Now, I'm sure you can imagine I was quite excited. I was set to leave on Friday, October 4th. I had a rental vehicle all ready to go, and that morning, before I could even get out of the state, remember, I had purchased a new truck, a 2009 Chevy Silverado, because I wasn't even sure my original truck was going to be returned to me.
Yeah.
And that morning, while driving eastbound on New York Street, some maniac southbound on Denny decided to plow into my driving vehicle while I was on a one-way. I mean, straight into the driver's side wheel, and then scraped down the entire side of the body, pushed me into a curb, and then caused me to careen into somebody's parked Cadillac. It was like right, I know. It was a beautiful, like $60,000 to $80,000 sports car. And the guy comes running out of the house. He's like, my car, my effing car, what'd you do to my car, you maniac? And I'm like, hey, buddy, I didn't do anything to your car. It was somebody that hit me. And then by that point, they had already ran down the street. They didn't even stop. But of course, their vehicle was so badly damaged in the accident, they couldn't get more than halfway down the street before they had to stop. Never checked on us, never saw to ask that we were okay. I called IMPD to report the hit and run. IMPD shows up. We process the accident report. I'm not even sure whether this person has insurance or not yet at this point. We just get the police report this week. Either way, I guess I'm covered. Hopefully they have insurance, but I don't have collision insurance. I do have uninsured motorist insurance, so if they're uninsured, I guess I'll be covered for that. Otherwise, I'll be riding on the graces of their policy. So this is a great way to start.
Wait, so the person that hit you, like, drove away too?
Yes. Yes,
Wow.
they drove away. They didn't get more than half a block down the road before their vehicle sputtered to a stop. But yes, the attempt was there. Whether or not IMPD would choose to press charges for fleeing the scene, who knows?
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not an environment with Prosecutor Ryan Mears, who wouldn't even move forward with more serious charges, let alone something like that. I mean, why would the officers waste their time? You can't even blame them in a circumstance like that. So already we're off to a great start. I go down to Pennsylvania. I retrieve my truck. The transmission and the clutch were supposed to have been fixed. As I walk into the shop, the mechanic says, "Hey, there he is." And I'm like, "Yep, here I am, buddy, here to pick up the truck." He gives me not my key, but rather copies to my key, which I find is extremely curious because I hand over an original key and I am returned 2 copies of the key. But we're well past arguing about it at this point. Just give me the truck back, man. And after he hands me the keys, hey, buddy, when you get this to Indianapolis, you might want to have the clutch looked at because the clutch pedal's about to go out.
What were you doing for a year and a half?
Right. Right. What are we even doing here? Especially when the clutch was explicitly one of the things that was supposed to have been fixed. To which he says we were in a semantics game at this point, and he's like, "Well, I did fix the clutch, but this is the clutch pedal. This is the bracket assembly, and I fixed the clutch mechanism. That's totally different." It's like, my guy, they're attached to the same system. You had the truck for a year. You could have mentioned this at any point, but whatever. Again, I'm certainly not leaving it there. I'm not entrusting it to his hands. So just give me the vehicle back.
Yeah.
I leave him a negative review on Google. Naturally, that's a long time coming. He calls me less than a half hour later to start complaining about the Google review and quibbling about the details and arguing about that. Dude's a solid maniac. Of course, at first it was under the guise of like, "Well, Mr. Hatcher, we want to make sure everything's okay with your vehicle." But it's been 20 minutes. I live 525 miles away. We don't know how the vehicle is yet. Give it some time. "Oh, okay. Well, let's argue about your Google review in the meantime." F off.
Yeah, no, for real. Like it was already like a borderline scam already.
Yeah, borderline. We're past that. So it gets better, Producer Jack, because I don't even get the truck 200 miles down the road before I'm in Wheeling, West Virginia, and I decide to, we're 4 hours on the road at that point, and I'm like, I'm going to stop by an antique shop and see what the sights of Wheeling, West Virginia have in store for me. Didn't even get to the antique shop before the clutch went out.
It's a shame.
Fortunately, I broke down in front of a tow garage in Wheeling, West Virginia, so I didn't have too far to go for that service. They take me to a local mechanic in the area, and it's 4 o'clock in the evening, maybe 4:30 by the time we get to the mechanic, and I asked the mechanic, "Please, can you stay open and take a look at my truck? I'd love to get home to Indiana tonight." And they're like, "Buddy, we close down at 5. Everything in small, rural Wheeling, West Virginia closes down at like 5 p.m., don't you know?" Oh, well, it was worth an ask.
Yeah.
So that means I'm stuck at this point. I am officially STUCK stuck in Wheeling, West Virginia. I got to go get a hotel. Stayed at a place called the McClure. It was decent. It was better than a Motel 8. At least it was clean, it was cheap, and it was a place to put my head for a couple of nights.
Yep.
I have to wait 2 nights there before they're finally able to get the part to fix my truck, and even after installation, inform me, "Hey, unfortunately, there's an extra cable that's attached to this bracket that has gone bad, and that part has been discontinued. We can't fix it for you." Oh no. But they used all of their hillbilly intuition to put together the resources necessary to jury-rig my truck together and get it down the road. They were confident in their repairs. They're like, "Hey, look, this will get you at Indianapolis, but you really should have this looked at by a Chevy dealership when you get there." Thank you, guys. Thank you. After 2 days in West Virginia, I just want to go home.
Did they do better than the first mechanic?
Well, yeah, they got me home. I'd say that was altogether more successful. I gave them a good review on Google for at least getting me home. And then after all that, after a year, I didn't get back until Thursday, and I take it to Ray Skillman the same day. And I drop off, and that's when they give me the news is going to be another $1,400 to fix the truck after dropping it off, after waiting a year, after the transmission and the clutch were supposed to be fixed. They have to drop the transmission to get to the slave cylinder, to replace the cable, to fix the clutch that was supposed to be fixed at an extra $1,400. Ah! I'm going crazy, Jack.
No, I can see why you're going crazy.
And so then I was without the truck for the whole weekend, which is why part of the reason why I wasn't on the show last week. And I didn't get the vehicle back until Monday. Finally.
Gotcha.
Long last. It's driving fine now, though. I mean, and just in the nick of time, too, since the other vehicle got wrecked, it was definitely time for a replacement truck. And then I got sick.
Oh, no.
And I've been fighting a cold for like the last 4 days. So if I sound a little scratchy or the show seems a little off, like I said, I've been battered. I've been mistreated. I've been fundamentally abused. I've been beaten up one side and down the other, Jack. I've been downtrodden. This is a terrible time of woe and travail.
Yeah, no. Kudos to you for even being here.
Yes. But we've got a good show in store for you this evening. Got some fun sound bites, including checking up on the Braun campaign. A little bit of a scandal brewing because he seems to have run afoul of a recently passed Indiana law that requires disclosure of digitally manipulated advertising in political ads. We'll tell you more details about that coming up next. So stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the technology it's been a long slog.
Donald Trump is a disaster for working people. This is the worst response to a hurricane ever.
Now, there are less than 4 weeks to go.
Everyone goes out and votes.
The choice is in sight.
Somebody said, he said, she's incompetent. And he's trying to gaslight people all over our country.
And it's not going to get any more polite.
We cannot be stopped.
I will get caught up in the rhetoric. We'll follow it all to the finish on your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
This October 10th through 20th, witness a race like no other in Driven to Save Lives, a documentary that's more than just a story. It's a life-saving movement.
Driven to Save Lives is inspiration.
Fueled by the legacy of racing champion Brian Clausen, whose heart symbol on his driver's license became a beacon of hope. This film explores the powerful impact of organ and tissue donation in Indiana's racing community and beyond.
To hear Brian's heart beat again, I'll never forget that moment.
Join us for the world premiere event during the Heartland International Film Festival on October 12th at Newfields, or stream the film online.
What Driven to Save Lives does is gives all of us the opportunity to be Brian Clausen.
Visit driventosavelives.org for more information and tickets. That's driven, the number 2, savelives.org.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PHIL25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PHIL25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PHIL25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code PHIL25.
JMV here. The big fall sale at Miss M's Home and Garden is still happening. Save 20 to 50% off. Trees and shrubs, 50% off. Herbaceous perennials, 30% off. In-stock patio furniture and more. Not only is the fall sale happening, but they have a great selection of local grown mums, pumpkins, and all your decorating needs. Take advantage of great planting weather and save right now at Miss M's. That is Miss M's on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
Students who can read by the end of third grade are 35% more likely to graduate. I'm Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education, here to tell you how reading 30 minutes per day can improve the trajectory of a child's life. Whether you are reading with your child or they are reading independently, this is one of the most important things you can do to help them succeed. So this school year, please encourage your child to continue reading. It's a small habit that makes a big difference.
Sponsored by the Indiana Department of Education and aired by this station.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is all about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Chris Wedekin here. Go to AbsoluteComfort.org for a free second opinion so we can keep you absolutely comfortable every day, all day.
Absolute Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit IndyHumane.org.
Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh,
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIPC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. Producer Jack is on the board. In this segment, I wanted to discuss gubernatorial candidate Mike Braun, who seems to have run afoul of a recently passed Indiana state law, which requires political campaigns to make a disclosure whenever digitally manipulated materials make their way into advertising. And Mike Braun went forward with a campaign ad which featured Jennifer McCormick, his opponent, standing in front of a group of protesters carrying signs demanding to ban gas stoves. Now, there's only one problem with that, Producer Jack. Those signs didn't say to ban gas stoves. They were just pro-Democratic Party signs. So the signage was manipulated to make a political point without disclosing that any digital manipulation had occurred. And this was a moment that was brought up, or a question that was brought up during the gubernatorial debate.
Well, that was amplifying a point, and the only misstep there was that you didn't disclaim it. And that's a recent law that just passed in Indiana. When I saw that, I immediately corrected it. No campaign's going to be perfect, but you do need to get at the underlying substance. And that ad was to point out that my opponent is embracing some of the liberal policies. I don't know that Hoosiers are quite ready for that. You know, when you've been proud of the fact that you voted for Hillary Clinton, I think when she was a Republican back then, and you support the Biden-Harris program that's given us a sugar-high economy and inflation, and when you recommend joining a environmental alliance, a climate alliance that espouses those things, I think you either need to say you're for it or against it, because I don't think Hoosiers are ready for that.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
A certain point of view?
Many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view.
Okay, I heard a lot of hemming and hawing in there, Producer Jack, but a couple of things that I didn't hear were an explanation or an apology for the fact that it happened.
Yeah, I didn't understand what he was trying to say.
No, and I'd like to drill down on a couple of things that he tried to say. Oh, well, we made the correction right away. No campaign is going to be perfect. And I wanted to drill down on the substance of things. So first of all, that's a lie. He didn't immediately correct it as soon as the campaign was notified. In fact, on a rather prominent ad buy at a college football game, I believe it was during a college football game, this ad aired with the original alteration made to the image and still no disclosure made. Several times and in several other places, it continued to air after the debate with no disclosure made on the advertisement. So that's not entirely true there, Mike Braun. The correction was not made immediately by the campaign. And then second of all, when you're talking about drilling down on the substance of issues, how can you be substantive when it's not even an issue that your opponent has raised? That's not something that Jennifer McCormick supports or has even discussed. And this tenuous connection that he's trying to draw, well, there's an environmental group that backs her, and that environmental group maybe supports banning gas stoves, so that means Jennifer McCormick should answer for this atrocity. I'm sorry, sir. That is a bit of a stretch. That is just a bit of a logical stretch there.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it.
Here is the offending advertisement, and unfortunately, you can't obviously hear the physical alteration, but to the signage. But here was what did he call it? Hopelessly Liberal. That was the title of the Mike Braun ad.
Jennifer McCormick backed Hillary Clinton for president. And when McCormick ran public education in Indiana, we ranked at the bottom. Then she backed Joe Biden and his trillion-dollar spending spree that caused inflation. Now she runs for governor on a plan to stop school choice and prevent parents from having more say in their child's education. She even wants an office of environmental justice and to ban gas stoves. Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal.
There we go. So, but right before that tagline, she even wants to ban gas stoves. They had that sign of a Jennifer McCormick rally with all those digitally altered signages, ban gas stoves now. And it's not something that she's discussed. Like, okay, first of all, we live in a very red state, Producer Jack. Yeah. Second of all, liberals have lots of very easily mockable policies, and especially when you've got a weakness in Jennifer McCormick, who supports on-demand abortion without any limits. That's something you can really knock the Democrats on because it's totally out of line with where Hoosiers are. And Jennifer McCormick has failed to capitalize on that issue, which has been a loser for Republicans in other Midwestern states like Ohio, who passed a referendum which would give access to abortion within, I believe it was 15 weeks in Ohio. And many Americans are on board with that level. But Jennifer McCormick, on the other hand, it refuses to put a date or put any limitation on abortion access because she believes in wholly unlimited and unfettered access to abortion. And we can see the polls are not looking fantastic for Jennifer McCormick, but there is an opening there. There is an opening because Mike Braun, out of all the Republican leads in the state, leads his opponent by the slimmest margin. This was according to Abdul's IndyPolitics.org, where he found in a survey of 600 likely voters that Republican Mike Braun leads by 44% compared to Jennifer McCormick's 37%, whereas Donald Rainwater is holding a steady 9%. And the political analyst believes that actually that is preventing Jennifer McCormick from performing better. I'm not sure that's the case because I don't think Jennifer McCormick voters are going to be your likely Rainwater voters. And it shows you how little she has failed to capitalize when there are vulnerabilities, particularly on the part of his lieutenant governor pick, which went against, the wishes and the wants of Mike Braun, Micah Beckwith, who has some interesting views of his own, shall we say. And on Jennifer McCormick's key issue, a couple of years ago, this was something that Micah Beckwith said after Indiana had passed their very restrictive abortion law that limited access in all but cases of fatal fetal abnormalities, threat of life to the mother, or rape or incest within the first 10 weeks. And Micah Beckwith thinks that that is a bridge too far, and we really need to carve out, right, I see you making that face, and that we really need to carve out the rape and incest exceptions to the law. Yeah, it's wild. Listen to him, Producer Jack. Check it out.
The pro-abortion crowd, I mean, they are just some of the most vile, hate-filled people I've ever met in my life, just screaming some of the most terrible things you could scream at a legislator. They're doing it. And, so the legislators had to walk into that environment. So kudos for them to get down there and doing it. Kudos for Governor Holcomb. He signed it. I didn't know if that was going to be the case. I honestly thought he probably would consider vetoing a bill like this. So we still got work to do. I would love to see the carve out of the rape and incest piece removed down the road, but it also kind of exposed who really was with us and who was against us.
Weird.
I'm just going to say it. That's a very strange hill to die on and to rest on, is the idea that, we got an almost total universal abortion ban, but, man, it's really important that we make sure the rape and incest babies are carried to term. That's a little strange. That's not where most Hoosiers, I think, are. That's not where most Americans are. And let's turn back the clock not too long ago, about 12 years ago, during the Richard Murdoch senatorial campaign. And that's why we got a Democrat senator for 6 years, because he carpet bombed his political career when he said this.
If life is that gift from God, and I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
And that was the end of Richard Murdoch. And so you have a similar expression that's being offered up by Micah Beckwith, who really wants to carve out the rape and incest exception to the Indiana abortion law. And Jennifer McCormick can't pick up any steam on that. So it shows you really how completely inept the Democrat Party here is in the state of Indiana, and how disconnected they are from where most Hoosiers find themselves politically. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. Stay tuned for more. Up next, the Sound Dump.
Tony Katz.
You're not married, right? No. After a certain time being married, you realize that sleeping in separate beds, a genius idea.
Well, that's just not very romantic at all.
Oh, we're not talking about romance. We're talking about rest. And if you want something that's not romantic, be in a relationship where nobody's getting any rest. By the way, my wife and I do not have separate beds. She can't get enough of me.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
As the summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-262-1104 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-262-1104. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Hey, Dad?
Yeah, bud?
I'm too afraid to tell him what I saw, what I sent, what I downloaded.
You can't help what you don't know. Tell the teens in your life they can talk to you about what's happening online.
Hey, you can tell me anything, right?
Yeah, I know. We need to talk.
Learn more about online safety at InternetCrimesAgainstKids.com. A message from the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, sponsored by the Indiana State Police.
I love my Window Nation windows. They look great on my house. Window Nation's 96% customer satisfaction rating, the highest in their industry.
And Window Nation's energy-efficient windows can save you up to 40% on your energy bill. I know because I'm a customer and I've seen it. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows for free, plus pay nothing, no interest for 2 years. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard air dealer serving Central Indiana.
I'm Jim Osman. Here's what's happening. Barack Obama is pressing black men to support Kamala Harris.
Republican Florida Congressman Byron Donalds on Fox News Live.
Now you got Barack Obama and the other Democrat surrogates out here saying that black men in particular need to just show up and vote for her just because she's a black woman. No. Details matter. Policy matters. Vision matters. And what we've seen from Kamala Harris is that she's been a part of a very destructive administration to the lives of the American people.
In Ohio, the GOP Senate candidate Bernie Moreno tells Hannity he's confident he can win.
We're going to win this race. We're going to fire Chuck Schumer, and we're going to make certain that President Trump's agenda gets passed.
Moreno faces incumbent Sherrod Brown in November. America is listening to Fox News.
Mark Dietel, as always, the only real estate expert I trust with the sale of my home, and I'd also trust him to find me a brand new home as well. Here's what Mark from Danville had to say. I finished building my new perfect home out of state and needed out of my old place quickly. Plus, to cover the cost of the new home, I needed a big price. Mark Dietel's team was the answer. My home sold in 3 days on the market over my asking price.
Mark Dietel is the best, and what separates him from the competition is the guarantee. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That is the Mark Dietel guarantee. You pick your move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietel today, 755-4232. That's 317-755-4232, or go to markdietel.com. Mark D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
We may be thousands of miles apart, but we can still connect. And when we do, we make things better. At Child Fund, we connect children all around the world with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Together, we co-create connections that help millions of children who live in poverty worldwide, and their families, and their communities, and you. Join us. Together, we can make the world a better place. 2 small worlds at a time. Visit childfund.org to learn more.
This is Saturday Night on The Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the slime pits of weekly news, where we wade into the festering mire to bring you only the most mockable moments from this political hellscape. For your listening pleasure, this week you'll hear even Saturday Night Live is joining in to mock the collapse of Kamala Harris. Tim Walz continues to flounder over his serial dishonesty and strange behavior, and even CNN has to be shocked when kids they interview supported Donald Trump instead. Hear it all for this week's edition of The Sound Dump.
I'll take you for a ride. I'm a garbage truck.
It's the Saturday Night Sound Dump on 93 WIBC.
I take you to the dump. I show you the sights, you know you wanna ride. I'm a garbage truck.
We begin with Saturday Night Live, and you know it's got to be bad when even a historically pro-Democrat institution like late night comedy is starting to turn on Kamala Harris. Truly, things have never been worse for her campaign. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. That's producer Jack, beep, 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 pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. And here is the clip from Saturday Night Live mocking. This was after the October, so this was last week, after the October 1st VP debate, mocking Kamala Harris' pick of Tim Walz. And you can hear they get the Kamala cackle in there. It's pretty good.
Okay, he's out there. He's doing his thing, whatever that may be.
Come on, just relax. You know, you haven't had a night off in 3 months. Do you want to watch something less stressful like the Menendez Brothers show?
I don't know, Dougie. I kind of wish I had picked Josh right now.
Oh, Josh Shapiro?
No, Josh. Cabernet.
Look, Tim'll be fine. It's not like he's going to say something crazy.
I've become friends with school shooters.
And her eye starts twitching, and she grasps and smashes the wine glass in her hands, under the pressure of all the stress. And that was probably the strangest and most memorable line from the VP debate, when Tim Walz made this very enormous gaffe.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to...
Missed it by that much.
Obviously, that's not what he meant to say, but boy, has it dominated the conversation after the VP debate. And by comparison, I mean, it was obvious Tim Walz was falling apart almost from the very beginning. And, was stacking him up against J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, and that's part of the problem that they made for themselves, because they have been demonizing Republicans and trying to make them look like these antisocial weirdos. And so all J.D. Vance had to do to refute the narrative was walk out on the debate stage and just be normal, which he was. And it won over loads of people. And then Tim Walz has to go on defense and explain his shooter comment and other remarks during the debate.
Do you want to clarify the comments that you made about school shooters?
Yeah, and look, you got to see me. These folks know me. I'm super passionate about this. The question come up about school shooting, we're talking about everything except school shootings. And I sat as a member of Congress with the Sandy Hook parents, and it was a profound movement. David Hogg is a good friend of mine. You have seen me do this. I was talking about being people where there are school shooters, and I need to be more specific on that, but I am passionate about this. This one, for my wife and I, is just, as teachers, as parents, is so personal.
Sad. Very sad. Sad.
So he's got to answer for his gaffes, but then he's also got to answer for his very real dishonesty. And I'm not just talking about his military record. That was something that came up very shortly after he was nominated. No, also just points of his personal history. He lied about participating and being present at the Tiananmen Square massacre in China. That's not something you get confused about. That's not something you mix up. That's not something you forget. Like, oh yeah, it turns out I wasn't at Tiananmen Square that summer in China. Oopsie daisy. And he had to go on the defensive on the debate stage about that.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of '89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I came back home and then started a program to take young people there. We would take basketball teams.
Losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.
So when Tim Walz was asked about why there was a discrepancy in his memory about saying he was at Tiananmen Square in China during the massacre, when records show that he wasn't there until later that year, his answer was, oh, well, I'm just a small boy from rural Nebraska, a small town of 400. That's not an answer, producer Jack. And he can't answer for his military discrepancies. It's a pattern of serial dishonesty coming from this guy. And part of the reason Kamala Harris seems to be remorseful for making the pick at this point. She was on a podcast last week and talking about how when she made the choice for Tim Walz over Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, she was very sleep deprived. She was feeling the pressure, and yeah, we could tell you seem to have made a Poor choice there, Kamala.
What was your process, because it was fast, what was your process and what did you do when you were deciding who to pick for your vice president?
You know, ultimately what it came down to was Tim Walz. If you look at Tim Walz and you look at me and you have a sense of who we are and where we came from, you think we have nothing in common. And I guess that the process was ultimately I made a decision about my gut around, like, and not that any of the other candidates didn't, but just do you have a connection to the people and a life experience that is about just seeing people. And but it was a whole thing. I mean,
but I heard you did some cooking. You were trying to watch a movie and couldn't focus. Like, is that your nerve? That's what I want. Yeah.
Well, so you want to know that part?
Give me that. Yeah.
Look, from the time that the president called me and told me he wasn't running, I mean, it just like everything was in speedy motion, and I was not sleeping so well. And that one morning, I had, I don't know, a few hours sleep, and I'd like to sleep. I just got up, I was like, and so I just went out and got a pork roast and started marinating.
See, time to work. Get to your happy place.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
So she's beleaguered, she's beaten down, she's seeing that the campaign isn't connecting, and her VP pick is a total weirdo that's alienating voters. And on top of it, you're attracting some really strange, really extreme elements under your wing. And there are some Democrats who are so upset and so vociferous in their report, they think that if you don't support Kamala as VP, then you should be shot. This was said by a college professor in Kansas University.
Guys are smarter than girls. You got some serious problems. That's what frustrates me. There are going to be some males in our society that will refuse to vote for a potential female president because they don't think females are smart enough to be president. We could line all those guys up and shoot them. They clearly don't understand the way the world works. Did I say that? Scratch that from the recording. I don't want the deans hearing that I said that.
How to talk to a feminist. Let's begin.
So the history of feminism.
Be quiet.
Actually...
Shut up. Shut up.
Oh, okay.
So this professor, in short order, lost his job, as he should. That was Philip Lowcock of Kansas University, and they of course, he resigned without saying whether the move was voluntary or forced, but clearly you can't be saying that, especially when CNN is doing interviews with kids, and they put on, they did an interview with a little black girl in particular who had the most surprising response about Donald Trump.
It'd be good for us to have a black woman as president for the first time in history. Yeah. But my vote's kind of still on Trump.
That didn't go the way they expected over at CNN. Is that the kind of person that Philip Lowcock thinks deserves to be shot? I don't know. I mean, it's his words, but yeah, lots of radicals attracted to the Kamala Harris campaign. And that was truly a ridiculous moment from This Week in News. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on The Circle, and stay tuned for more coming up next.
It's been a long slog.
Donald Trump is a disaster for working people.
This is the worst response to a hurricane ever.
Now, there are less than 4 weeks to go.
Everyone goes out and votes.
The choice is in sight.
Somebody said...
He said...
She's incompetent.
And he's trying to gaslight people all over our country.
And it's not going to get any more polite.
We cannot be stopped.
I will get caught up in the rhetoric.
We'll follow it all to the finish on your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi. My daughter invited her entire class to her birthday party. Can my Wi-Fi handle it?
Oh, well, at Xfinity, our latest gateways have tri-band Wi-Fi technology, letting you connect hundreds of devices at once.
No way. So if all the kids are watching stuff on their phones, well, their parents are sharing videos online.
Yep, go ahead and watch videos. They can all do their thing and party their way. No problem.
Oh, we are gonna need a bigger cake.
Now through October 20th, get fast, reliable 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $30 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract with free Wi-Fi equipment included. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Xfinity, bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's time to get ready for spooky season by eliminating all that spooky dirt, grime, and spills. Halloween brings out the best in people, but it also brings out some pretty scary crud from all the foot traffic. How about having Zero Res help to take care of all that with a great October special? Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $129 and $75 off air duct cleaning too. That's a $40 savings on carpet cleaning. And remember, your air ducts are where the really spooky stuff is. Yikes! The Zero Res service for your carpets, floors, and air ducts is easy to line up, and you can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. I love these folks. And don't forget the ZR Water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $129, plus you get $75 off air duct cleaning too. Call 317-388-5141 or book things online at ZeroResIndy.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire the largest injury firm in the world for your injury case? Let me count the ways. Your case will be handled by your lawyer, a paralegal, and a case manager who's always in the office for you when your lawyer's in court. There's also a 24-hour hotline if you ever have a question or a problem. We've collected over $20 billion and won a lot. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra is making its way back to Gamebridge Fieldhouse on December 19th with an all-new show, The Lost Christmas Eve Tour. For tickets and more information, head to WIBC.com.
In a white room with black curtains near the station. Black roof country, no gold pavement, tired starlings.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher, rounding things off for Hour 1. This week on Tuesday, I got to sit in on the Kendall and Casey show with Rob Kendall, and we discussed the sequel to the much-anticipated Joker movie that seems to have fully flopped. Folie à Deux, the title of the sequel, is now a dud at the box office for the second weekend in a row. What went wrong? We speculated on Kendall and Casey this week.
So it was one of the most anticipated movies in a long time, and it is a disaster, both in terms of quality and at the box office. 93 WIBC. Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher in for Casey. So you've seen the Joker sequel.
Yeah, no, I've not seen the sequel. I saw the original Joker, Todd Phillips Joker movie when it came out in 2019.
Now, it was
a pleasant surprise.
So that movie had a $60 million budget, and it became a $1 billion movie.
Yes, I think it was one of the first R-rated comic book movies to cross the $1 billion threshold, which was supposed to be something that could never happen because an R rating would alienate too much of the general audience.
Yeah, that's correct. So it got 11 Oscar nominations. Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor. They won 2 of them overall. It was, by just a resounding success. And it is. It is. I'm not a person who goes to the movies anymore, but it is one of the few movies I have sat through, period, at home, anywhere. I thought it was really well done.
Yes, very well done. The problem is that the director, Todd Phillips, despises comic book fans and comic book movies and comic book superheroes and comic books in general.
So real quick, so if you, we can spoiler alert at this point because it's been 5 years. The Joker is not a comic book guy in this movie. Joaquin Phoenix is a real dude who turns into the Joker at the very end. But it isn't. He
is very loosely based on the comic book character.
That's correct, right? While the Batman movies, the Joker, whether it's Nicholson or Heath Ledger or whatever, it's totally outside the mainstream of things that could actually happen. There's always a wink, wink, nod, nod, laugh, laugh. This Joker movie actually is in the mainstream. He's a real guy, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, and so the thesis of the director, Todd Phillips, when he made the original one, as he was thumbing his nose at the general audience, said, oh, well, we're going to sneak serious cinema in the disguise of a comic book movie and give you a real film. But he hates comic book lovers. He hates the fans. And so this sequel, Joker 2, Folie à Deux, is fully a dud because everything in its construction was meant to tear down the character that Todd Phillips himself created. And it could be for a litany of reasons, some of them political. It could be as simple as the fact that when he made the first one, he said, that's it, I'm done, it's a standalone, and we're off. And Warner Brothers came a knocking and offered him the Brinks truck full of cash. And he's like, well,
yes.
Okay.
So it was $190 million budget. It did 40 million in the opening weekend,
which is bad.
Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere near that going forward. And the problem with it is the reviews are terrible. So if you were on the fence, you're like, yeah, but they got awful reviews. I ain't going to that.
Some of this could be the involvement of one Lady Gaga, because it would not be the first time that she has associated herself with a sequel of an R-rated franchise that totally flopped. I'm thinking of Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. I'm thinking of Machete Kills, and now Joker 2, Folie à Deux. She has made an appearance and it flopped.
Yeah, women destroy everything, right, Ethan? There we go.
Chicks. Ruining stuff.
That's it for Casey. When we go, yeah, Kevin's laughing because that's funny.
Now, see, here's the thing about this whole debacle. At the end of the day, if they wanted to do a Joker musical, there was a path to victory. There was a way they could have done it and made the fans happy. In fact, they've already done it before.
Hey! Jingle bells, Batman smelt, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel, and the Joker got away.
Here is Jiffy Lube of Indiana's COO, Lonnie Hinkle.
Lots of Hoosiers belong to unlimited car wash programs because they want their car to look great. At Jiffy Lube, we're here to help you make sure your car runs great. So to help take care of your car inside and out, Jiffy Lube is offering everyone who belongs to a monthly car wash program a $20 discount and a free tire rotation from now through the end of the year. Just point out your car wash sticker and we'll do the rest. My Jiffy Lube teams are maintenance experts. Our computer system provides all of the manufacturer's maintenance recommendations for every make and model of vehicle, so we know exactly what every car needs to operate at its best. Jiffy Lube is your trusted one-stop shop for all that your car needs to run well for many years. You never need an appointment, and we now offer brakes, tires, tune-ups, and minor repairs at most stores. So stop in on your way to the car wash, save $20, plus get a free tire rotation just for belonging to a monthly car wash program.
Jiffy Lube. Nobody does it better.
Did you know every 3 seconds someone is a victim of identity theft? LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity this Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Adding multi-factor authentication, like a text with a security code, is one way to boost your security. But for comprehensive protection, trust LifeLock. LifeLock alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal info and steps in to resolve issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect yourself with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Denny Smith here. The big fall sale at Sundown Gardens is still happening. Save 20 to 50% off trees and shrubs, 50% off herbaceous perennials and pottery. Take advantage of great fall planting weather and save 20 to 50% on trees now at Sundown Gardens. The nursery's full of great selections and the greenhouse is bursting with great local grown mums, pumpkins, and all your needs for fall decorating. Sundown Gardens is located at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show. When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs. Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
Hey, don't take your eyes off the road. Just listen. What you hear right now, your customers hear it too. Get your message heard. Text BUSINESS to 71007 now. Get results with Radio One.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and want a local independent American Standard air dealer you can trust like Absolute Comfort? Well, find that dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News. 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Fox News, I'm Jim Osman. Here's what's happening. Folks in Florida are beginning to rebuild after 2 hurricanes and multiple tornadoes. Fox's Jeff Paul is in Cocoa Beach.
It was a true 1-2 punch for cities like Cocoa Beach. Well before Hurricane Milton made landfall, the storm whipped up several violent tornadoes that ripped through this neighborhood, making the road to recovery for folks here very long and off into the distance. Now, in total, the state issued more than 100 tornado warnings that day. That is a record. Those tornadoes not only damaged homes and businesses, but also knocked out power to tens of thousands of people, many who still do not have electricity. Farther south in St. Lucie County, the tornadoes killed at least 6 people there. And for the folks who lived through it, they say it happened quick, it was violent, and they feel like their neighborhood will never be the same.
More than 6,000 National Guard troops have been deployed to assist in search and rescue operations. Speaking to Fox Cavuto Live, Florida State Representative Lindsey Cross says some people in the state are dealing with a nightmare when it comes to homeowners insurance.
There's a lot of people who are finding that the flood insurance policies they had or their homeowners insurance policies aren't going to quite cut it when it comes to the significant losses they've incurred to their homes or to their businesses. I'm here at a local business here in St. Pete, Cycle Brewing, which fortunately is back up in business, but there's so many businesses and homeowners who still can't get back to their homes.
At least 17 people were killed during Hurricane Milton, and over 1 million homes and businesses are still without power. Gasoline is in such short supply that the state is giving away 10 gallons of gas per person at free distribution sites. I'm Jim Osman. America is listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Dozens of cops near downtown Indianapolis. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending this hour. Around 3:30 on Saturday morning is when police started getting calls about a shooting just outside of downtown. When IMPD arrived to the scene along Indiana Avenue near IU's Indy campus, they found a man and a woman had been shot. The woman critically injured. The man was dead.
You don't solve your problems by resorting to violence.
IMPD Captain Don Weilhammer says several bullets busted out windows at a Taco Bell restaurant, but people inside the restaurant weren't hurt. Police are still looking into this. A dead body is what police found inside of a parked car at a towing business on Indy's South Side on Friday night. Police say it was an employee who tipped them off about a human head in a car. Police say once they were able to get inside of the car, they made the discovery. The car was originally towed from a McDonald's parking lot along South Madison Avenue. An autopsy will determine the exact cause of death. Justified is the ruling about separate officer-involved shootings in New Haven happen in Fort Wayne this year. Here's Sasha Nixon.
Officers say Robert Facina had a knife when they tried to arrest him on April 27th. Facina had apparently been involved in a domestic incident, and he threatened them with a knife when they arrived. They also note that Linzel Parham was riding in a car that was stopped on June 22nd, and he kept reaching for a gun. Body cam footage of that incident was later released.
And the Indianapolis Colts played the Tennessee Titans on Sunday afternoon. Now, here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
The overwhelming majority of us remain dry, low temperatures in the lower 60s. Tomorrow, a cold front swings through the state. Skies will be mostly sunny, high temperatures in the low to mid 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Terry Stacy here for Exercise Incorporated, the 20-minute once-a-week workout that's changed the lives of hundreds of Hoosiers for nearly 20 years. My boss at WIBC, David Wood, he's been a client second time around since just last fall.
I've had a big improvement in my strength and just my flexibility since starting in October. And I've lost like 12 pounds. It's like I really wasn't shooting to lose weight. It's just that I noticed that clothes were fitting differently on me. And it made me go, I wonder what I weigh now. And I jumped on and I'm like, holy cow, this is the least I have weighed in almost 10 years. It has made a big difference. I feel a lot better. I've got problems with arthritis in my shoulders and my knees. Kyle, my trainer, has really worked with me on increasing muscle around where those joints are, and it's really helped.
Try it for yourself. Exercise Inc., 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Great news. Indy Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers. Call 888-RHINO-41 for details.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your Bohemian codger, Ethan Hatcher. Find my podcasts uploaded to WIBC.com and SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm. Plus, you can always find us streaming live on the YouTube machine every weekend, and feel free to hop in the chats while we stream the show. After the first televised debate featuring all 3 candidates running for Indiana governor, the second will follow at the end of the month on October 24th on WFYI. And early voting has already begun, and now Hoosiers will be making their selection for the next governor of the state. Here to do a debate retrospective and discuss the final stretch in his bid for governor before Election Day is the stalwart defender of individual liberty and low taxation in the state of Indiana and the Libertarian candidate and friend of the show, Donald Rainwater, joins us on the WIBC hotline. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Ethan. How about you?
I am staying alive, struggling after the extra expenses of having to repair my truck from returning to Pennsylvania. Returning from Pennsylvania, of course, the clutch went out. That was an extra $1,400, but, you know, what's that amongst friends, right?
you do seem to have a Murphy's Law situation going on with your transportation.
Yeah, everything and anything that could be going wrong with the vehicles has gone. But what I want to dive into in this segment is, of course, your debate performance. And I want to say, first off, I thought the second debate went a lot better because it was the first real debate since all 3 candidates were participating on the debate stage and giving their opinions for Hoosiers to hear.
Absolutely. I think personally, I didn't even know there was a debate going on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a bit of a snooze fest.
I was only familiar with the one on Thursday.
Exactly. You know, and the debate on Thursday, I thought it had its own deficiencies because, in my opinion, there was very little focus on local issues affecting Hoosiers at the state level. You know, instead, they wanted to talk about these national issues or issues that have already been settled, like the abortion issue or the ongoing immigration issue. And there was seemingly little attention that was focused on the prominent issue affecting Hoosiers, which was property taxes.
taxes. And yeah, they let out of the gate with it, but then, it was quickly swept under the rug and they moved on to other things. It was, I don't know. I was a little disappointed with the way they organized the structure of those questions.
Sure, absolutely. And, one of the things that I would say, many of our supporters have reached out since the debate and expressed the opinion that, it's almost impossible to answer a question in 60 seconds or even, 2 minutes. It's very, very hard.
Especially with any level of specificity.
Any detail or nuance to anything. It just makes it really difficult. So what you have to try to do is give people a reason to go, for example, to rainwaterforindiana.com and click on the issues button and read down through there and get a little more detail. And it's also important, I think, that folks remember that, as governor, you are providing a framework that you want the legislature to work on. And in most cases, we know the governor does not make law. The legislature does that. So what we have to do is we have to come to the table with some goals and collaboratively work with the legislature to meet those goals. My 2 goals as far as property taxes have been, your property taxes should not go up every year. They should stay the same year after year after year, so you know what you're going to be paying. And after a specific number of years, it should stop. Now, we have some folks in the legislature right now that are working on a program to eliminate property taxes and replace it with a sales tax on services.
Yes.
And I would be open to that concept. I think that's a great idea, as long as, in addition to property taxes, we eliminate the gasoline excise tax, because Hoosiers shouldn't pay 2 taxes on 1 gallon of gas to the state of Indiana. Get rid of the vehicle excise tax, which is really prohibitive on a lot of Hoosiers as to how much vehicle they can afford to buy, because then they have to pay these excise taxes year after year after year. So I think if we got a comprehensive plan, I think I could get on board with the idea of eliminating the property tax altogether. It's what I started campaigning on 4 years ago.
And a comprehensive plan, I'm glad you mentioned, I believe it's J.D. Prescott, representative and part of the House Ways and Means Committee, who's offering up that current proposal and working on the finer details of the issue. Rob Kendall and myself talked about that on the Kendall and Casey show earlier in the week when I was filling in on the show. And that's, I guess I'm glad you brought that up, because that's been a criticism that my co-host and colleague Rob Kendall has levied at you, not offering enough specificity. I believe that was something that Braun had mentioned during the debate as well. How do you counter that? Because in fairness, here's J.D. Prescott, who's coming to the table only, recently, and has a lot more nuts and bolts that seem to be nailed down in terms of offering Hoosiers a clear vision on how you would replace the funding and ensure that essential services like police, like fire, like roads aren't lost just because property taxes are being cut. And that's, fair or not, it is one of the primary criticisms of and fear-mongering tactics that are used by the establishment anytime the idea of removing that income stream is brought up.
Well, I've heard this supposed criticism that I don't have enough detail or enough numbers. And so I took a moment and I went to the Braun website and I looked, and lo and behold, Ethan, I think you would find, if you went to Braun's website, he doesn't have any more detail than I have. As a matter of fact, you can't find any of the details about his property tax plan on his website. mine are there on the issues page. So as far as that goes, I hear it, but I also know that it's kind of, it's kind of vacuous, if you will, to say, well, Rainwater doesn't have enough detail. Rainwater is running for governor, as folks know, and the details of how to get stuff done belong with the legislature because they have the power of the purse. The governor does not. They have all the details. J.D. Prescott is currently in the state legislature. He has access to detailed information that they don't make public to folks like me.
Well, I think part of the problem is you're running across a couple different headwinds. First and foremost is you are the libertarian candidate that's running for governor. And unfair as it is, a couple different things that you have to surmount is the straight ticket voters and also the voter skepticism of placing their vote in favor of a third-party candidate that they believe to be a spoiler. You know that's not a fair criticism, and I know that's not a fair criticism, but that is something that people talk about when it comes to voting for a libertarian candidate. And so that gives the libertarians, fair or not, a higher hump that they have to overcome. And with that comes the responsibility, I feel, of providing greater levels of specificity, which ties into the second thing. Here's Braun, literally Johnny come lately. He just came into the property tax debate and he had to be drugged, kicking and screaming by his lieutenant governor candidate who got elected against his will into the conversation about the property tax debate, whereas you've made this the center focus of your campaign for the last 4 years. And with that, there should have been a little more time to come forward with a plan that's just going to totally kick the ass of Braun, if you pardon my French.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I will say, here again, any criticism that the average voter would like to levy in that area is absolutely fine. Every voter has to decide for themselves what they believe is the criteria for casting their vote. I will say here again, if I had an organization like Hope Inc., which is a group of very well-connected Republican establishment individuals who came together to draft Senator Braun's plan, I would probably have more detail as well because I would have had access to a lot of data and information they don't make publicly available.
The resources of the establishment machine.
That's right.
Which the Libertarian Party is perpetually forced with overcoming. And we're running a little thin on time in this segment, but I would love to come back with you in segment 2 and talk about your plan here in the home stretch of trying to convince Hoosiers and make your pitch for the governor of Indiana. And I appreciate something that I believe you posted on your Twitter page, which is that win or lose, it's the candidate's responsibility to convince the voter to support them. And if they lose, it's not because of a spoiler candidate. It's not because of somebody else that's poisoned the well. It's because they didn't do the job of convincing the voter at the ground level to put their vote behind them.
That's absolutely right.
So are you able to stick with me for another segment?
Certainly.
All right, let's do it. And stay tuned to Saturday night on The Circle. We're going to be coming back with Donald Rainwater in just a moment and talking about the game plan in the final stretch to Election Day next month. Stay tuned to 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Let's now name all the things you would rather do other than move.
Gastro bypass surgery.
And I was just going to go for enema. Same body part, just from different angles.
Takes half as long.
This show is excellent, by the way.
I love it.
You know, we got nominated for a Marconi.
Oh.
We didn't get nominated this year. I don't see another one in our future.
It's like that Colts won Super Bowl championship. We'll always have that.
I was going to put up a finalist banner.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale price now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Mark from Danville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. I finished building my new perfect home out of state and needed out of my old place quickly. Plus, to cover the cost of the new home, I needed a big price. The Mark Dietel team was my answer. My home sold in 3 days on the market over my asking price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com. MarkDietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, making sure your home is prepped for the fall weather, which could wreak havoc on your plumbing, specifically your sump pump. An efficient sump pump is crucial to keeping water out of your home, so making sure yours is working properly is a must. For October, my friends at Hope Plumbing are offering $150 off a new sump pump. That's $150 off a new sump pump that will keep your family safe and dry during this fall season. Call Hope Plumbing or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com.
Looking for a great deal on a new Lincoln? Come to Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator and get a $4,000 discount. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair, 70 available. We look forward to seeing you at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock L24401, MSRP 107425. Stock L24284, MSRP 43435. See dealer for complete details.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
When I was younger, I may have did some stupid things, even committed some crimes, but I am not a criminal.
I work for youth advocate programs, YAP. I was Tamani's advocate, helping him stay out of jail, stay in the neighborhood, and get a job.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
YAP is a community-based alternative to youth incarceration and neighborhood violence. Youth advocate programs. Learn how at yapinc.org.
This is Chris Wedigan with Absolute Comfort. Go to AbsoluteComfort.org to find out how dual fuel systems can keep you absolutely comfortable all day, every day.
Absolute Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your bespectacled curmudgeon, Ethan Hatcher. In the last segment, we were talking with friend of the show and Libertarian candidate for Governor, Donald Rainwater, about the debate performance and about the challenges that Libertarians are saddled with, criticism of the campaign, and of course, now we're going to be delving into Donald's plan for the final stretch of the election and convincing Hoosiers to place their vote, place their confidence in the Libertarian candidate for governor and the vision for individual liberty, for limited government, and low taxation in the state of Indiana, things that should be right at home to a very conservative state. What say you, Donald?
Well, I think that one of the things that we have to look at over the next 3 weeks to a month is to really understand that the voter decides who their vote goes to. We were talking about that a little bit before the break.
Yeah.
and the fact that, it really is incumbent upon us as candidates to earn your vote. And so we're going to be, for example, on Sunday, we're going to be in Martinsville for the Fall Foliage Parade. And then afterwards, we will be at the Martinsville American Legion for a meet and greet from 4 to 7 p.m. I'm going to be going to Jackson County on the 19th. We're going to be getting out and talking to people. We'll be up in Kosciuszko County on, I believe it's the 25th, the day after the next debate. And, of course, we're going to have that debate on the 24th, where we're going to answer questions and talk to voters again. And that's one of the things I think it's really important that when voters either talk to a candidate or listen to a candidate on a debate, you really, I challenge you to figure out, are they talking to you or are they just talking? Because the thing that folks tell me over and over and over again is that after they've talked to me for a few minutes, they can't imagine voting for anybody else. Because I'm just an average, everyday Hoosier. I'm tired of my federal and state and local governments taking and taking and taking our money and flushing it down the toilet, throwing it out the window, giving it to somebody out the back door, and then us not seeing the results. For example, I'm sure, Ethan, you heard about the recent report that DCS is housing children in their offices because they don't have anywhere to take children that are in the system. Our state government should be doing better than that. We should have money being spent in a more appropriate way so that kids aren't staying in office buildings overnight.
Well, instead,
that just bothers me to no end.
Instead, you got all these corporate subsidies flying around. You've got the buddies in the pharmaceutical industry, and now they're trying to game the
Mid-States Corridor Project.
Yes.
The folks down in Jasper and Martin counties are rightfully very frustrated and very upset, and they need somebody who will champion their individual property rights. And they know, I believe, I'm that guy.
And
obviously, there's another person running for governor who's actually behind and trying to get that project done.
And I'm so glad you mentioned the events that you have coming up on your schedule, because I totally agree with you. When Hoosiers are able to interact with you on a face-to-face level and then hear you speak about the issues that you're passionate about, they're drawn to the libertarian vision for what a state of Indiana would look like with a more limited government. I think it's something that many Hoosiers, especially outside of Indianapolis, where I currently reside, many Hoosiers thirst for, is a return to a more reasonably sized, reasonably managed government that isn't handing out millions of dollars to their corporate buddies, so they can focus on the core issues of taking care of children, of making sure the roads function, of making sure the trash gets taken out, of making sure the schools are staffed, and there's school choice also, as well as keeping the fire departments and the police departments staffed, and the things that government really should be focused on, but unfortunately has become so bloated and oversized, especially in a post-pandemic world where many millions of dollars were printed and then given away to state governments so they could frivolously spend it on these infinite little pet projects.
Yeah, and that's something that you brought up there that I just want to kind of settle for people. If you've heard somebody say that, my plans would defund the police. My grandfather was a police officer, and when he retired from the police force, he became the county jailer. And so I have a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for our law enforcement officers. And I would never do anything to endanger or quote-unquote defund the police or the fire department or any other local service. What I am proposing and what I am targeting is the misallocation of your tax dollars for things that government should not be doing. And as I've said to a lot of people one-on-one, and I'll say it on your show, the problem with our state and local government is they're addicted to spending other people's money. And as we all probably are aware, when an addict is threatened with not getting their fix, they will tell you just about anything in order to continue getting their fix. And so when somebody tells you that your taxes being lower would defund the police or defund the fire department or hurt the schools, they're just making that argument to try to scare you into not demanding smaller government and more responsible and fiscally accountable government. Because they love spending your money.
Well, the criticism is doubly comical when it comes from the party that just a few years ago was literally championing on the phrase defund the police and demanding police departments have their funding reallocated to social services. And now they're criticizing you for presenting a plan that would limit the size and scope of government. But more importantly, this is something I think that we've talked about before. It's certainly been discussed on the show before, something that's been known as the Washington Monument Strategy. Anytime you suggest limiting the size and scope of government, the first thing that the establishment always fearmongers on is the most visible and desirable elements rather than the enormous and excessive waste that, of course, exists in government at every level.
Right. Well, and isn't it just normal for the folks on the left and the folks on the right to flip-flop on policy and constantly point the finger somewhere else? You've got one set of people on the left, another set of people on the right, and here I am, Ethan, stuck in the middle with you, buddy.
And that's why I love you, Donald Rainwater, because the entire time that I've known you, certainly over the last 4 years, you've remained consistent on your vision for the state of Indiana. You remain consistent on your principles. And when you talk about the issues that you're passionate about, you know that you can trust because you're just a straight shooter, as opposed to a Johnny-come-lately who's manufacturing his views because he was dragged kicking and screaming into the debate.
Right, or has to have somebody else write all of his positions for him.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show, Donald. I'd love to have you back before Election Day.
Absolutely.
And give our listeners one more time where we can donate and find out information on the campaign.
Oh, you can go to rainwaterforindiana.com.
Appreciate you, Donald. Thanks for listening to 93 WIBC. Stay tuned for more.
Oh, man, we're turning back time. The Turn Back the Time sale right now. Thompson Furniture Mattress in Columbus. Sale prices back to pre-pandemic prices. Sale ends Monday, October 14th. No other store is going to come close to these prices. Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers, Bassett, and mattresses from Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster. Free financing available.
Awesome Hoosier-owned family business, and they still have free delivery if you live within 75 miles. Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
At Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, we're good at insurance. But not just any insurance. We're good at fireworks don't go in the attic insurance. Hole in window insurance. Even guy that shouldn't have a chainsaw but has a chainsaw insurance. Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and stop knocking on wood.
Barrington Jewels believes in the timeless value of exquisite craftsmanship. Discover stunning collections for engagements, weddings, and more. Whether you're looking for the perfect diamond or a unique pre-owned piece, the expert staff at Barrington Jewels is here to guide you. Visit today to find the jewelry that will last a lifetime. Visit Barrington Jewels today or shop online at barringtonjewels.com. And remember, you haven't seen a diamond until you've seen a Barrington diamond.
Guys, we're notorious for putting things off. But when it comes to plumbing problems, you don't have to live that way. If you're tired of taking showers with low water pressure or not enough hot water, you've got to stop putting it off and call Lance and the local team at LD Smith Plumbing and ask about water heater specials. These are the guys I trust in my house and in my friends' houses and my relatives' houses, and they're the licensed plumbers you want in your house too. LDSmithPlumbing.com. That's LDSmithPlumbing.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard air dealer serving Central Indiana.
Fox News, I'm Ann Carrick. Brigadier General Alex Harlamore with Florida National Guard telling Fox News Live how the troops are assisting.
Until power gets back up and running, we're going to be in a pretty tough spot. Fortunately, we're able to work with some pretty good agencies out there, and our goal is to assist these agencies, help get these areas cleared so they can get the power back up and running and get these Florida citizens' lives back to normal.
The state is distributing fuel and generators. North Carolina is moving forward with early voting, including in the hard-hit western part of the state. Elections Board Executive Director Karen Brinson Bell on the same show.
We do start early voting October 17th, which is this coming Thursday. It's our 17-day in-person early voting period across the state.
75 of 80 sites in the West are set to open. America is listening to Fox News.
So what's in the bag today? Yesterday's leftovers? Another lunch meat sandwich? Well, go ahead and pull up a rock and settle in for a half hour of I wish I was eating something else. Or you could be eating something else, or someplace else. If you're brown bagging it at the corner of 30th and Shadeland area, drop over to His Place Eatery for 30 minutes of, why didn't I know about this place sooner? Nothing fancy, not a lot of frills. They save that for the quality of the meal. Like ribs that fall off the bone, southern fried chicken, sides that will cause your taste buds to thank you into tomorrow. Put that in your brown bag and eat it. Better yet, bank the bag. Go to His Place Eatery at the corner of 30th and Shadeland, or the newest location off 86th and Ditch Road. Your dirty boots and work clothes are welcome here. His Place, your place for lunch. Go to hisplaceeatery.com to learn more.
This October 10th through 20th, witness a race like no other. In Driven to Save Lives, a documentary that's more than just a story. It's a life-saving movement.
Driven to Save Lives is inspiration.
Fueled by the legacy of racing champion Brian Clausen, whose heart symbol on his driver's license became a beacon of hope. This film explores the powerful impact of organ and tissue donation in Indiana's racing community and beyond.
To hear Brian's heart beat again, I'll never forget that moment.
Join us for the world premiere event during the Heartland International Film Festival on October 12th at Newfields, or stream the film online.
What Driven to Save Lives does is gives all of us the opportunity to be Brian Clausen.
Visit driventosavelives.org for more information and tickets. That's driven, the number 2, savelives.org.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, age of
Aquarius. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your Bohemian codger, Ethan Hatcher. All the podcasts are uploaded to WIBC.com and SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm. Plus, you can always find us streaming live on the YouTube machine at 7 to 9 every Saturday night, and feel free to hop in the chat while we're doing the show. After landing in the old-time Hooskow once again, the beleaguered constable Denise Paul Hatch finally copped to a plea agreement with the court, which resulted in her felony conviction and subsequent immediate removal from office, thus putting an end to the months-long saga of embarrassment for the district. Here to reflect on the twists and turns of one of the strangest fiascos to bluster through Center Township in quite a while is the political pundit, professional journalist, and part-time gossip columnist at the IndyPolitics.org. The one and only Abdul Hakim Shabazz joins the show.
Well, first I have to say, I love The Fifth Dimension and Age of Aquarius. I also saw the musical Hair, actually on stage back in 1989. in Germany where they did the Age of Aquarius song. So congratulations, my friend.
So there's a personal connection to the song. See, that was totally unintentional, but once again, my thematic relevance has found a connection to the segment.
And that song came out the year I was born, too, so go figure that. So.
Wow, there we go. So I wanted to bring you in, of course, to give us updates on our old good friend, Denise Paul Hatch. She finally copped to a plea agreement this week, which resulted in no jail time for her. I think that's interesting, but they were able to immediately remove her from office as a result of the conviction, and I really think that's the direction Center Township wanted to go with this, to just get the fiasco to stop. Abdul. It's been going on since when did this start? Like November of last year, I want to say.
Even before that, actually it started when she beat the Slade and actually won the primary back in 2022.
Jeez.
Because she won the primary, and so I remember I reached out to her like, "Hey, Denise, Abdul, I'm an attorney, blah, blah, blah. Congratulations on your win. I'm just saying you might need a lawyer to kind of help you navigate some of these things. I'm happy to maybe work something out." She's like, "No, I'm fine. What could possibly go wrong?"
What could possibly go wrong? Famous last words.
Exactly. Just like, hey, iceberg ahead. So she ended up, like she said, she was arrested for shoplifting, like some broccoli at a grocery store.
Like a litany of stuff. She was trying to exchange rotten fruit. She's flashing her badge. She's interfering with arrest. She's violating court orders. Like what? I know I'm missing some other.
As Judge Nelson said in court, and when Judge Nelson, you could tell he was very annoyed, even though judges keep their composure like they're supposed to professionally. But it's like think about it, when your grandfather's upset with you, he doesn't yell at you. He just says in that very plain voice, "Ethan, I'm very disappointed in you." And that was sort of the tone that Judge Nelson had. He said, like, you know what? It's like, Ms. Hatcher, it's like, it's shameful and it's a disgrace that you basically been in front of me 4 times in the past year for the same charge. And I was like, wow. And with all that said, she did reach a plea agreement with the prosecution, and the plea agreement basically says she will plead guilty to I can't remember exactly what it was, but she entered a guilty plea.
It was a firearm conviction, wasn't it?
The firearm conviction was a misdemeanor battery.
Okay.
It was a misdemeanor. But on the felony, the obstruction of justice, fisherman's conduct charge, she pleaded out. Basically got 6 months. And by the way, she was charged with a Class 6 felony, which is like the lowest felony that you can get. And the time...
But that's the only threshold we needed to cross.
Well, and for a felony, the conviction is 6 months to 6.5 months to 2 years behind bars. Because she had already served basically most of the 6 months behind bars while she was in jail over the summer. Because remember, her bond got revoked because she was out doing stupid stuff.
Again, right.
Yeah. So the judge said, your time served, so they took off the GPS monitor and let her go home.
I understand the concept. This is something we talked a little bit about on the Kendall and Casey show earlier in the week, of not wanting to take up valuable jail resources by imprisoning mere annoyances, as opposed to imprisoning the people who are truly frightening and that we're scared of because they make the city a more dangerous place to live. That said, it sticks in my craw just a little bit, Abdul, because this wasn't just one run-in with the law. It was several. And as a representative of the courts herself, as a law enforcement officer, former law enforcement officer, I thought those people were supposed to be held to a higher standard. And here she's getting off seemingly scot-free for at least 4 separate offenses. Well, not scot-free, 6 months time served, but still, that's
but she's
pretty lenient, Abdul.
You see, no, but she's not getting off scot-free because once again, there's a range. There's 6 months is a low end. 2 years, 2.5 years is the high end. She already served her 6 months in jail. Point number one. And this does not necessarily have any sympathy for Denise Paul Hatch, even though I believe everybody is entitled to get due process.
She's gotten some due process and then some at this point.
But the bigger thing is that she's once she was convicted of felony, she's automatically removed from office. That's it.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, there's no resignation, no fill out paperwork, no. Once you're convicted of felony, you're automatically removed from office. So bam, so that's gone. And now Denise is going to. I remember her telling, I want to say, the CBS 4 is 569. She's going to basically move and leave and go.
Great.
And go
haunt some other city.
Yeah, go off to the side. And also got to remember too, she's also a convicted felon. And when you got a convicted felon, there are a bunch of things that you can't do if you're a convicted felon. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Great. So what you said she's moving away, so that seems to be the future for Denise Paul Hatch. But what of her also one-time former associate Gabe Whitley? Because I hear there's more movement on his front. You had a court hearing this morning, as a matter of fact.
Yes, we had what's called a status of counsel hearing. Basically means that the judge wants to know, hey, Mr. Whitley, have you got an attorney yet, or do you need one to be appointed for you? Because once again, Gabe Whitley's been charged with a Class 6 felony, threats and intimidation, posting my home online, and saying people said maybe somebody should have dueled, blah, 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 blah. So with that said, what ended up happening was Gabe Whitley says, Your Honor, I'm trying to, so the judge asked Mr. Whitley, do you have an attorney yet? It's like, no, I'm talking to 3 lawyers. Like, okay, that means he's got money. If he's talking to 3 lawyers, great. So when I see for my defamation suit at the end of the month, I can just start to chink and collect my cash right here and there. So the judge's like, well, do you think, so he asked for 60 days to get an attorney. The judge was like, no, I'll give you 30, and that's it. So have an attorney in 30 days, or more likely the judge is going to appoint one for him. And so they'll be meeting back on I would say November 21st, I think, is when we'll probably back again with Mr. Whitley.
Do you anticipate Whitley taking the plea deal agreement like Denise Paul Hatch just to get it behind him, or is he actually going to be dragging through this kicking and screaming?
Mr. Whitley, let's put it this way. He was at a Center Township court hearing the other day, because he's just got all his legal matters are just coming in left and right. It's hard
one after another.
It's hard to keep track sometimes. And so the lawyer, it was an accident. It was State Farm Insurance was suing Whitley because Whitley got to an accident earlier this year, and his insurance company denied him coverage because he was being uncooperative. Imagine that. So he was denied coverage, and so once your insurance company denies you, the State Farm is like, hey, no, your insurance company they dropped you. You're denied coverage. So hey, we're coming after you for $3,000 and some change. Period. And so while we were there. So as soon as the court hearing was over, Whitley was like, Whitley actually tried to have me removed from the courtroom because I was there, as media, because he's a former congressional candidate. So that's the indicted former congressional candidate. And so Judge Brendan Roper gave him what I call my black mom look. Really? Please explain this to me. He was like, well, I have a protective order against Mr. Shabazz. No, he doesn't. I have a protective order against him.
No, the other way around.
And it's like, Mr. Shabazz should leave the room. He shouldn't be here because he's a threat to me and a danger to me. And the judge was like, I'm not hearing it. And if you've ever been to the Center Township courtroom,
I have. Judge Roper is a straight shooter. I love her.
Yeah, it's like a rectangle. So he was in the right hand corner. I was in the left hand, in the front, in the left hand side. I was in the back by the door on the right hand side. So it was like it was sitting next to him. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. So it wasn't any of that.
There's plenty of space.
Yeah, there's plenty of space between. And so as soon as the hearing was over, I got up and I left. But the one thing I did think was interesting, though, he said that I have to wait outside. I want to wait outside with Mr. Shabazz there because I'm scared of him, and I have to wait for my Uber to get here. Like, Uber, what happened to your car? Oh, it probably got repossessed because once again you're behind on your payments like you were with everything else.
And we might not be out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak, because you got all these wackos running around. They're birds of a feather. They run together. You got Denise Paul Hatch, the landlord. You got the renter, Gabe Whitley. And you also got his friend, Bobby Kern. And now I hear Bobby Kern is running in the precinct to get appointed to fill the constable vacancy that has now been opened by Denise Paul Hatch, successful conviction and removal from office.
Well, everybody's got to have a dream. And I think it's interesting that Bob Kern said he was going to run for Center Township Constable because now that the vacancy's open, the party has 30 days to fill the vacancy via precinct committee people. That's how the rule works. Just like with Jennifer Pace, when she passed away, John Schmidt, et cetera, et cetera. And so Bob Kern said he was going to run for the job again. It's like, nope. I'm thinking to myself, no, Bob is a nice guy. Bob's just got some issues. But I thought to myself, this reminds me of a really bad Friday the 13th film. Like, isn't Jason Voorhees dead yet?
Right.
He's coming back after sequel after sequel after sequel.
They just keep coming back. Well, hopefully this is an end to the saga because we
No, it's not.
But we need to move on, Abdul. It's time to move on.
We need to move on, yes. But they keep making this. They keep making Dollhouse 5. Like, who ordered this movie? No one did. I'm sorry, make it Phantasm Pie.
Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. I've been in a conversation with Abdul Shabazz, friend of the show. Want to stick around for one more segment, and let's talk about ongoing controversy with Todd Rokita, because I hear via the gossip column that there could be some more trouble brewing.
For Todd Rokita? Really? You don't say.
Stay tuned to 93 WIBC.
This could be one of the most consequential votes of our lifetime.
Who will be our next governor?
U.S. Senator. Our next president.
Who will represent us in the General Assembly?
You have a voice with your one
vote.
Unhappy with the current state of affairs?
You can do something about it.
Voting is one of our most important rights as Americans.
It's how you can stand up for your beliefs,
your values,
and for future generations.
A reminder to make your vote count on November 5th.
November 5th.
November 5th.
From WIBC
and Urban One.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's starting to be fall in Indiana, the perfect time to tackle home projects you've been putting off before winter arrives. With Moss Roofing by your side, you don't have to do it alone. They're ready to assist with your roofing and siding needs, ensuring your home is safe and ready for the holidays. Let Moss Roofing, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com, give your home a serious glow-up with premium James Hardy siding, tough enough to face Indiana's wild weather and stylish enough to turn heads on your block. And the best part, their free inspections come with a 3D design preview so you could see your home's stunning makeover before the work begins. Contact Moss Roofing for a job done right every single time at Moss Roofing, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com, or call 317-747-3665. Moss Roofing, 317-747-3665. That's 747-3665. Or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com. And don't forget, tell them Tony Katz sent you.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry, there's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
They took the credit for your second symphony. Rewritten by machine on new technology. And now I understand the problems you could see. I met your children.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. Ethan Hatcher behind the microphone. One final segment with our friend Abdul Shabazz, catching up on the ongoing controversies of Todd Rokita, who seems to be in imminent danger of potentially more complaints against him. What's going on here,
Before I get to
Abdul?
Attorney General, I got to give you credit for playing the Buggles. That was the first song ever played on MTV.
Yep.
In August 1981. I just thought it.
Apt choice. Video killed the radio star. And yet here we are.
Yeah, but now streaming's killed video. Exactly. Indiana Todd Rokita has been in front of the Disciplinary Commission for comments that he made about various idiotic things over the past few years. And he may have really stepped into the most recent comment he made was regarding telling someone that they want access to Department of Health abortion records, maybe they should sue the state. And as a lawyer for the state, you can't do that because you're representing the state of Indiana. So there's probably going to be another so a complaint's been filed. There'll be a couple disciplinary commission hearings coming up. But the theory is the commission set it for after November, because they don't want the whole thing about election interference, even though it's not election interference, because you said something stupid and you should be held accountable for it. Now, with that said, though, I could easily see a scenario where Rokita is reelected. He's reelected Attorney General, but cannot serve, because between the time that after he's elected and the time that the admission comes back, in a nutshell, I would not be surprised they recommend him to have his license suspended without automatic revocation, which means you can't be a licensed attorney because you don't have a license to practice law, which means you cannot by law be attorney general because you have to have a license to practice law.
Isn't that what they did to Curtis Hill as well a couple of years ago?
No. With Curtis Hill, he was just suspended for 30 days, but his law license was automatically reinstated because Curtis.
But wasn't that the basis for why he was removed? Because he lost it for 30 days?
Oh, no, because Curtis ran in the convention and he lost re-election in the convention. So that's when Curtis lost, right, and Attorney General Todd Rokita won. So that's what that was. But under the rules of professional conduct, if you're suspended or reprimanded, but your license isn't suspended, if you're suspended with automatic reinstatement, you can still practice law. Todd Rokita is suspended. If he's suspended without automatic reinstatement, you don't have a law license. That means you cannot be Attorney General.
How likely is that really to happen, though? Because the establishment always circles the wagons around their own, and you've got other Republicans who have engaged in some rather shady behavior over the years and gotten by and kept their seats.
Yeah, but they're not lawyers, so lawyers are a whole different standard, a whole different ball of wax.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
I think the main problem with Todd is that he's treating the Attorney General's office as a political position. He's treating these issues as political footballs, and then he's wanting to get his sound bites and go out to Fox News, CNN, get a little bit of camera time, and that's all well and good. That's what politicians do, but it's just not something you should be running around engaging in when you're the Attorney General representing the legal matters for the state.
Well, you can still be a very active and public Attorney General. Just basically stay in your lane. Go hand out the checks on consumer fraud. Go do violence prevention grants. Go do consumer protection. Go do environmental stuff. Go put out really good legal opinions. Go do all that stuff an Attorney General is supposed to do. But the Attorney General getting involved in this is wokeness. What and then school funding, what the hell does that got to do with anything? Like Rokita put out a news release saying, as lawmakers do with property tax reform, we're happy to offer our office of services to let them know what's constitutional. Duh, you're doing your friggin' job, you moron. What, you want credit for that? Really? Seriously? GTFO.
But despite the bad behavior, you think it's pretty likely he's going to get reelected ultimately?
I would say the odds are in his favor right now.
Both Destiny and Jennifer McCormick think that there is some Democratic headwind going on that makes Indiana, a purple state for this election. Or
I would say Indiana's probably a little bit less. I would say Indiana's red, but not as red as it was, say, back in 2016 or 2020.
Interesting. Thanks for coming on the show, Abdul. Appreciate you.
Hey, my pleasure. Video did kill the radio star, but satisfaction brought him back.
Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. I leave you with my parting words of wisdom. As always, wherever you are, whoever you're with, and whatever you're doing, remember that life is a state of mind. See you next time.
Mike loves the fall in Indy, but he hates to paint, so he called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Whether it's the good food or the friendly mood, you can count on Indiana to never lose when it comes to tailgating. And we want to see you at every game. That's why Hubler's got you covered with the best warranty around. So kick off the season in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Choose from over 2,000 Chevys, Fords, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and many more. All makes and models. Certified. Luxury. Even the hard-to-find ones. Every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and includes a 128-point vehicle inspection, plus a free Carfax history report. Keep the tradition alive, knowing Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles.
Hubler's got you covered.
Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 12 locations.
Cover me.
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Eligible Hoosiers, listen up. Election Day is November 5th. This is a reminder from the Indiana Secretary of State. Make a plan to get to the polls and vote. Indiana's elections are safe, secure, and transparent. Go to indianavoters.com to find polling locations, volunteer to work at the polls, and more information for Election Day. Make your vote count this Election Day, November 5th. This message is brought to you by your Indiana Secretary of State.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News. 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Struggling to recover in Florida. I'm Ann Carrick, Fox News. First Helene and now Milton. Hurricane Milton believed to have killed 17 people. At least 1 million customers still have no power. Brigadier General Alex Harlamore of the Florida National Guard on Fox News Live.
Once we get the power back up and running, ultimately make sure that they have access to food, access to water, access to any other commodities that we can assist with, whether it's tarps, showering facilities, laundry facilities, so that we could slowly get their lives back into some normalcy.
President Biden heading to Florida Sunday to survey storm damage. Hurricane Helene knocked out communications in southern Appalachia, adding to the difficulty of finding missing people. The Washington Post confirming 16 missing, admitting the real number likely is much higher. Despite Helene, North Carolina moves forward with early voting, saying 75 of 80 locations in western North Carolina will be open. The vice president is rallying in North Carolina again as the state continues to recover. She shared more about her visit with reporters at Joint Base Andrews.
I look forward to talking with the people of North Carolina on a number of levels. First and foremost, to see how they're doing in the wake of the hurricanes, but also to talk with folks about how they are thinking about the election and what they need. I'm going to be having some discussions with voters and folks who are on the ground there and listening to them, but also talking about my plan.
Harris in Raleigh tonight, holding a rally in Greenville tomorrow. Former President Trump campaigning at an Hispanic roundtable in Nevada earlier today. Trump says Latinos fared well financially during his administration, but not now.
Right now we have a country that's it's a nation in decline. We're sadly a declining nation.
He's in Coachella, California tonight. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The long-awaited trial is right around the corner. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending this hour. Jury selection in a double murders case in Delphi begins on Monday. Attorneys for Richard Allen, who prosecutors say murdered 2 girls in 2017, don't want prison guards to testify. They're asking a judge to prevent this because they say that some of the statements that Allen made while he was in solitary confinement could have been incriminating. A man is dead and a woman is in bad bad shape after a shooting on Saturday morning just north of IU's Indy campus. Police say they were called to Indiana Avenue to an intersection near a strip mall that includes a Taco Bell. 2 people were shot in what police say was a running gun battle. Here's IMPD Captain Don Weilhammer.
If you got a problem with somebody, try to talk it out. Can't talk it out, turn and walk away.
The windows of the Taco Bell were shattered by bullets. No one inside the restaurant was injured. Police are still looking into this. A section of US 52 has been renamed in honor of a fallen Indy Metro police officer named Breanne Leith. Here's Sasha Nixon.
Leith was killed in the line of duty in April of 2020.
She was 24 years old, a veteran of the National Guard, the mother of a young son.
That's Hoosier Congressman Andre Carson speaking on the House floor after the officer's death. The section of US 52 between Davis and German Church Roads is now the Officer Breanne Leith Memorial Mile.
The Indiana Pacers played the Memphis Grizzlies at home on Monday in preseason basketball. Here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
The overwhelming majority of us remain dry, low temperatures in the lower 60s. Tomorrow, a cold front swings through the state. Skies will be mostly sunny, high temperatures in the low to mid 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. You've been waiting. Now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving prices down. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Ray in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I needed to move in a hurry, so I was out the door into a new home, but left with the big problem of selling my old home with 2 mortgage payments fast approaching. I heard Mark Dietl was the answer, and I heard right. I was ecstatic when Mark sold my home for the price I needed in 2 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
I love my Window Nation windows. They look great on my house. Window Nation's 96% customer satisfaction rating, the highest in their industry.
And Window Nation's energy-efficient windows can save you up to 40% on your energy bill. I know because I'm a customer and I've seen it. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows for free, plus pay nothing, no interest for 2 years. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Psst. Can you hear me? So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Live from the heartland and the crossroads of America, it's Tony Katz Today.
All Donald Trump and J.D. Vance know about manufacturing is how to manufacture BS. That's an actual post right there from Tim Walz. I checked. I'm like, is this legit? Is this real? Am I living in the upside down? Is this a real thing? It's a real thing. It's his account. It has the blue check mark. It must be true. And of course it's true because I saw it on the internet. Tony Katz Today. 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. That's the number. That's how you get to be a part of the show. It has already been a day, and it's going to be a weekend, and it's going to be a week because we're in the final, basically, 3.5 weeks of this campaign. Not basically, through the last 3.5 weeks of this campaign. This is going to be over. And then, of course, it's not going to be over because, as we are fully aware, these things are never, ever, ever over.
Over? Did you say over?
Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Once again, it is hard to argue with Senator Blutarski logic. I once had somebody email me and say, it wasn't the Germans who bombed Pearl Harbor. That person got it wrong. And if we don't know the movie classics, ladies and gentlemen, exactly what's the point of living? It's going to be a painful 3.5 weeks, and I have no way of making this better, except I do have some things that will at least make you go, well, ain't that something? Isn't it nice to know that we had it right from the very, very, very beginning? And we did. And we did. We had it right when we stated that this election was about men. We said it early. We said it right from the start. And of course, you had a whole host of people saying, oh, no, the women are going to come out. This election is going to be about abortion. This election is not going to be about abortion. There are plenty of people who vote solely on that subject. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people who want to run just on that subject. Don't get me wrong. That isn't the thing that we're discussing. That isn't the sole subject. I do ask whether or not the economy is moving people as a subject the way it did maybe a month ago. And maybe that's because Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene are so on the front pages that it's moved the economy off the front pages. You're going to see that the stock market's up because the producer price index, well, that was flat. That means everything's fine. It's not. It's the consumer price index of yesterday that stated that inflation is still here. And a producer price index that is flat doesn't say that inflation has gone away. You cut rates 0.5 point. You're now thinking that there will be no more rate cuts this year. You take a look at those futures people, this futures market, where they're at. They don't think another rate cut is going to come now because of the poor reports. We are not done with inflation by any stretch of the imagination. But this election is not about abortion. This election is about men. And the reason this election is about men is because they have told us that it is about men. They have stated it clearly that it's about men. And all we ever did was listen. All we did was listen to what it was they were saying, how it was they were campaigning. This election is about men. Now, some want to say that men are not voting for Kamala Harris because of sexism. There was this this tweet, guy by the name of Tim Wise. Tim Wise looks like he's trying to be a Bond villain. He's a cross between a Bond villain and the guy who does the voice for SpongeBob SquarePants. That's kind of what he looks like. I might be giving him too much credit there. He is a critical race theorist, and in his Twitter bio, it states, yes, that thing you don't understand. So he starts with a premise. And the premise is, I know things, you don't know things. Therefore, when I tell you things, they are important things because I know them and you don't. That thing you don't understand about critical race theory is whatever it is he decides it is at the moment. What a way to start a relationship on social media. But he put out a post, did Tim Jacob Wise. And if you guys want to reach out to him and say, hey, Tim, Tony Katz is talking about you right now, feel free. Feel free. Doesn't bother me none. He writes, Kamala Harris could offer free gas and bacon for a year, and MAGA cultists would still vote for Trump because it was never about prices. It was always about the racism. Racism, sexism, they get it all confused. It's all the same. There's always a reason. The reason cannot possibly be that Kamala Harris is awful. The reason cannot be that Kamala Harris is terrible. The reason cannot be that she's got bad policies. The reason cannot be that she is not likable. The reason cannot be that she's totally inauthentic. The reason cannot be that she is a fraud and she has absolutely flip-flopped on maybe every possible policy position one could have. That can't be it. It's because of sexism and it's because of racism. Tim here talking about racism. I said sexism earlier, talking about racism. So let's take Tim at his word, and let's walk through the theory. Let's say that Tim is right, and people are not going to vote for Kamala Harris because of racism. Now the question is, what's your plan? What are you going to do about it? I ask this because you must somewhere have an answer. You must somewhere have a fix for this horrific problem of bigotry. If I humor you, Tim Wise, and we say it is racism, how does, first of all, putting that on social media fix it? How does it fix anything to say you could give these MAGA people free bacon and free gas, they still won't vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman of color? Well, first of all, did you try? I mean, you bought some people's votes by paying off their student loans. Have you tried buying other people's votes by giving them bacon and gasoline? I mean, not together. Clearly. By the way, if you had to run cars on bacon, people would walk. I'm saying this